All right. Um, guys, we're on Bigo Live and we are on YouTube and Anchor.fm. We're going to talk about the issue with the Haitian migrants and the fact of the Haitians hijacking a bus and going wild. So let's watch this clip right here.
NBC News has learned Haitian migrants who were deported to Haiti today attacked pilots and immigration officers on another flight after it landed in Port-au-Prince. So the plane carrying single adult men were released from the aircraft to Haitian authorities on the airport tarmac. Then NBC News reports several of those men stormed another recently arrived jet carrying families. The Biden administration has been ramping up the flights after more than 15,000 mostly Haitian migrants crossed into Texas from Mexico and set up a makeshift camp under a bridge. In Del Rio, here's NBC's Morgan Chesky.
Chef, numbers are going down here in Del Rio, but there are still about 8,600 migrants beneath the border bridge, about a half mile from where I'm standing. Processing those people an absolute priority because of the brutal conditions here. It's still reaching about 100 degrees during the day. And while they are getting a little food and water, I have had migrants tell me what is being handed out is not enough. As it stands right now, we know that many of these migrants have been taken to nearby shelters and or processing centers. We had a chance to speak to one 25-year-old man who told us that he's on his way to Houston before hopefully connecting with family in Brooklyn. But he told us of the struggles beneath that bridge for the past week with his pregnant wife, saying that at one point he swam back to Mexico to buy enough food and water so that his family would be okay because he couldn't rely on what was being handed out by the government. Now, we heard from Secretary Mayorkas earlier today, who said despite the current size of the encampment here, the goal is to have everything cleared out, everyone processed within the next 10 days. However, when you see the sheer size of it still beneath that bridge, it remains to be seen if that will actually happen in the next week or so. Shep?
And that's the thing, man. I mean, there's a lot to deal with these migrants and stuff, but I kind of blame the Liberal Party for bringing them for giving them false dreams. I mean, they screwed over the Haitians, the Democratic Party, Hillary Clinton Foundation. She screwed them over, not giving them houses and stuff. Then you have Biden coming into office, and because these migrants are going to vote for Biden because he's offering free stuff. That's what the liberal side does: free stuff, free food, free benefits, and they're going to come over here and expect to be taken care of. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
My experience with can you hear me okay? It seemed like it's
Yeah,
echo.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. My experience with Haitian people is that they don't get the same care packages that other migrants get. They typically, the ones that I know, they come and they work very hard. They have, because nobody is, I mean, they're not a popular immigrant, as you can see. They're not, you know what I'm saying, coddled to the extent that some other groups are. I'm just keeping it real because
Yeah, I
I lived in
understand.
California, and if you go on the California website, California has a special package, welfare package for immigrants. They give immigrants, specifically immigrants, you get like a stipend, and it amazes me when you consider all the homelessness from Northern California to Southern California.
Exactly.
So, but I've never seen Haitians get like they have to come here and like that guy had to swim across back to Mexico and swim back. They don't get the red carpet. They don't get you know the 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 attention and the care that the other groups get.
Right. And you just have a couple of days ago with a crisis with the Afghan refugees. Two of them sexually assaulted minors, and one of them strangled his wife. And what was found out, I found this out from the article military.com, that
Hmm.
in the Afghan culture, it's okay to molest kids and beat on women. And they're brought over here and it's perfectly fine. Even telling the soldiers to ignore what any type of child sexual abuse you see while in Afghanistan, and you're bringing these people over here, but you treat the
Yeah,
Haitians like crap. Now, I'm not
yeah,
saying what they coming over here, the way the Haitians came over was right. It's not. They have to come through the proper channels, but at the same time, you're having people from a culture of pedophilia come into these borders.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I had some soldiers tell me about that when that were in Afghanistan about how about that culture of child molestation. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when they told me that. But yeah, it when you look at the scheme of millions of immigrants coming from one particular country, and you look at what is it like 20,000 Haitians.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't think I can compare that, especially when you consider, like I say, when they come here. My friend is Haitian, and
Mm-hmm.
she wants to retire down there. She's a nurse, and her sons were born here. They're doctors, so
Right.
they don't come here raggedy trying to get on the system because with black skin, they're not going to be given the same treatment as the other immigrants. As
No,
you
they're
can
not.
see with the guy on the horses and the whips and stuff like that, they didn't do any of
Right.
the other. I don't think they did any of the other immigrants like that. Um,
No, they didn't. But and the thing is, like I said before, it's like you haven't. I mean, I remember they were discussing this on I think C-SPAN or on a one of those current events channels. I was watching on YouTube, like Blinken, one of the people from the Biden administration. He's trying to talk about how trying to explain away the Afghans coming over here and immigrants who are pedophiles coming over here. And then I see that article with those two Afghanese refugees molesting two minors. I'm like, he must be talking about them because that's not the same. This is not just some isolated incident. This has been happening in Afghanistan. And it's going to happen more when they come into American society, when they leave those military bases.
yeah, yeah, and they're going to run up against one of these rough women over here who don't bow down, gonna blow their heads off, because there's that, and then when they go to court, everybody in the jury is applauding them because it's like, well, what the hell were you doing? So, yeah, but
But
they showed they sh-
they're probably gonna get some soft treatment. Oh, well, who knows? Because the two that were tried, one of them got I think 10 years, the other got 20.
hmm
What they did, but still, it's like the way this government is going, they're gonna probably, who knows? I mean, they may have stiff laws against them, they may not, because what's going on with these Afghan refugees is probably what's going on in Europe as well. I don't know if you heard about what's going on in Sweden and Germany, that those type of Middle Eastern immigrants, they're basically running over the country, gang rapes and stuff like that, and beheading women. And the German counselor there, she doesn't do anything about it, and that soon
oh
could be
wow.
America. Hmm. Just like
Well,
with
I don't
ASAP
know.
Rocky.
Go ahead.
Yeah, with ASAP Rocky, those two Middle Eastern people, he was in Sweden, and those two Middle Eastern guys were following him for 3 blocks, and he defended himself because they were trying to attack him. And he ended up doing a lot. He was going to spend a lot of time in that jail, but Trump got him out.
Well, I don't know. I think Americans are so rough.
Hmm.
These days, we just about as debaucherous as they come. So if you come here with that, it's a different culture. In Europe, it seems a lot softer than it is here. It's in terms of the people. Like we are we're probably like second, third generation with children growing up in drug addicted homes and rough living. And
Hmm.
so they liable to get their behinds handed to them if they try it because and we having problems with missing people, missing
Right.
native women, missing always had problems with missing black folks, men, women, and children.
Hmm.
So it's like we got it's just like a multi-dimensional problem. But I think Americans are just so damn rough that I don't think we have mostly we don't have we're getting armed. We've got gun laws and stuff like that, and it's a different beast. I think that uh, Europe might have been soft because I know France is soft. France, you could be unemployed for years and get a check. It's like they have very soft laws over there.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, well, I don't know much about France, but I know about in Germany and Switzerland, Sweden. They have these no-go zones, and because it's so bad with the immigration, that
mm,
they're able to do whatever the hell they want, and women have to be jogging, and tanks have to be there with them.
wow.
And it's
So
that
you're
bad.
basically a prisoner in your own land. That's bad.
Right. Right. And it's like they have a thing called cultural jihad, where it's basically they assimilate into your culture, learn the language, and then turn the culture of your people to fit them through the laws of your land. And it's sad that they're letting this happen, and you're kicking out these Haitians, or at least, but these are the people that you conned into appreciating you, and now you're kicking them out. But this is people are, like, voted for Biden. They're trying to pretend there's nothing wrong with him, and like he was never a racist. I mean, Trump possibly is a racist. Um, I could say that, and Biden is just full blown. You're just seeing it. He's not saying it. He's doing it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the difference. Okay,
yeah.
and
I
this
I
stuff.
voted for. There was a black lady on the ballot. I voted for her, and I think she might have got like a really teeny tiny percentage. But I knew I wasn't going to vote for Biden. I knew that. Um, but and it's. Did you see that clip of him? What he when he was much younger, talking about Haitian people?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He was talking about how it was better for them to sink into the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that clip. It's really it's just and the people are just ignoring him and think, oh, he's changed. No, he has not changed. He has not changed.
No.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
and people like that, they don't change overnight. They keep their mouths shut about certain things due to the culture that has
Right.
changed in order to
Right.
survive in politics. That's it. But a lot of people don't think that way. I mean, even with the way has things like what I just told you about the Afghanistan, talking about that has been happening even under the Obama administration. And Biden, he's just showing his true self. He's just not going to he's not going to say it. I mean, look how he treated the black farmers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they're supposed to get their money, and he's not letting them have it. And this is a man who's saying, like, oh, we did all we can for those Americans, in Afghanistan. Listen, this is a man whose son was in some tight crap with the Ukrainian government. Okay, the Ukrainian lawyers was going to prosecute him for shady business deals, and he bribes the Ukrainian government with money and say, you get your lawyer fired and I'll give you these millions of dollars. This is what he did. And his son is off the hook. So he couldn't have that same energy for these US citizens in Afghanistan and the allies that have helped the Afghanistan. There's still people, there's still Americans in Afghanistan as we speak
Mm.
with weapons. So the the Taliban's going to take those weapons and you know um, use it to do whatever they want to do to the Americans.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is the type of president that we have, and the way he's treating the Haitians, the way he's treat. I just think that and plus the American government is also, for what I've heard, is that they're taking the Haitian women and sending back the men.
Yeah, well, there was some foul stuff going on back when that first earthquake happened with children. People were going down there grabbing Haitian children whose parents were still alive. So that's why I say for them, I feel a little different. And also being from Louisiana, New Orleans is a Haitian,
Mhm.
the sister city to Haiti, and Chicago was founded by a Haitian. So I have a kind of I straddle the fence a little bit with them because I know how they are treated because they're black. Like, and you see, I listen. Growing up in California, I saw how the red carpet is thrown out for immigrants. That everything is put in their language. It's made very convenient for them, you know. And so, I say if you're gonna do for one, do for all. That's my stance on it.
Yeah,
Now, if you're
I
gonna
agree.
throw,
I
if you're
agree.
gonna throw and run behind these other people from other countries, run behind them with horses and stuff like that, if that's gonna be what you're gonna do, then you have to do it for all of them. Don't just
Right.
do it to the Haitians. If that's how you're gonna do it, you're gonna be evil like that. Then you do it for everybody, because you've got millions of people here from a certain country. You know, millions, to the point where they've said that these people have outnumbered black people. And the what was it, 20,000 Haitian people? What you think they're gonna tear the country up? Really? It's cities that have more than 20,000. Come on now.
But
So
that's how they think. Unfortunately, people are not seeing that. But I mean, you got the Republican and the Democratic Party are both the same. They're both the same. It's
yeah,
just their type of racism is different. One
yeah,
side, I'll hand you, Section 8 and all that stuff, but don't ask for like reparations. Don't ask for like tangibles. The other side is
mhm,
like, don't ask for a handout, but at the same time, they want your vote for nothing, which is what is that? A handout.
mhm,
And this is the part that's sickening. This is like for me, it's like I don't vote for either side. I'm like, forget both of you. I'll just make a living for myself. That's it, any way I can, and be for me. That's it. Because both sides are dirty. Both sides played blacks dirty. And
mhm,
Malcolm X was right. The Democratic Party is this very, very extremely sly fox. They pretend to be your friend, but at the same time, they just want you to be under their thumb of the government,
mhm.
and
Yeah,
they
I agree.
ban all types. Yeah, you were saying?
Mhm. Oh no, I was just gonna say I've been voting Green Party since the '90s. I've been, independent rather. I've been independent since the '90s. I did vote for Obama, and I did vote. I told you this last one I voted for. The It was a black lady, an independent that nobody knew, but I thought, well, hell, to hell with it. If I'm gonna throw a vote away, I mean, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't particularly happy with Kamala's record. I wasn't particularly happy with Biden. So, and I think he's too old. It seems like he's starting to have some memory issues. So I don't know.
I don't know. I think he's playing an act. I don't know. He can't be this conniving and this evil to be playing this type of act. I mean, if he really was that senile, I don't think he would be. Um, I don't think he would be allowed to pull the stunts he's pulling and to allow these failures to be happening. I think he'd be like, yo, just sit in the back corner and let Kamala, run the show. That's what I
Hmm.
think. But let me just read this article. A group of Haitian migrants who are being bused to San Antonio to be flown back to their country of origin briefly took control of the vehicle Monday before making a break for it, according to the Washington Examiner. The Examiner report, when cited, two federal law enforcement officials added that the escapees were eventually recaptured. It was not immediately clear how many initially escaped. Uh-oh. An ICE spokesman told Kivo there are no injuries in the connection with the incident. The agency did not immediately respond to make a request for comment from the Post. The U.S. and Mexican governments are set to ramp up the number of deportation flights to Haiti after nearly 15,000 migrants, the vast majority of them people of Haiti origin who settled in Central and South America more than a decade ago, settled under a bridge connecting Cuad, Acuna, Mexico with El Del Rio and Texas. More than 6,000 people have been removed from the makeshift encampment since Sunday, and Homeland Security Secretary Angelo Mayorkas have promised the U.S. will increase the pace and capacity of flights to Haiti and other countries as the week goes on. The Associated Press reported Monday night that the U.S. plans to begin 7 daily expulsion flights on Wednesday. At the same time, U.S. Customs and Border Protection have been forced to defend itself from criticism of the conduct of its agents who are falsely accused of using whips to force migrants back onto the Mexican sides of Rio de Janeiro over the weekend. President Biden, who lacks immigration policies, have been blamed by members of both parties for causing a dangerous migration surge at America's southwestern border, gave a brief response when asked about the ongoing crisis at the United Nations Tuesday morning. We'll get it under control, the president insisted. I don't believe he's going to do that. I just, this guy is just purposely making mistakes. That's how I see it, because he wants the Afghans to assimilate into society because they could be passed off as white, and they'll vote Democrat. That's how I see it.
I agree. Yeah, they'll get their money to start their businesses, and they'll go on about their day like, and that's why I say, why can't that same policy apply to the Haitians?
Because he just wants to fill. He's just fulfilling his role. He's just being. People, I hate to say it like that, but yeah, he's being a racist. He's just being Jim Crow Joe. He's the same person he was in the 70s. He's the same person he was in the 60s. He's just could play it off. Oh, he's old and say things. He sounds like he's a charming, good old Uncle Joe. He could play it off because he's old. When you're old people, you don't, if he was 35 years old, you want to kick his ass. But because he's 60, 70 years old, you kind of hold back because he's an elderly person. That's the issue.
Not necessarily, because you have a lot of these Karens and stuff that are old, and people don't give them any slack.
Right.
So it's like they have to be held to the same accountability. And even when in these nursing homes and stuff, and these old people be nigger this and nigger that, and you wiping their behind, and you're giving them medication, and you're doing all this stuff. I tell them, I say, hey, do you want your people to come in here and wipe you and all this other stuff? I say, because I can leave you here. And
you got a lot of patience. You got a lot of patience. That couldn't be me. You got a lot of patience.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. When I finish with them, they understand. They can play senile and stuff, but I'm not the one. I'm not the one.
Right. I mean, this is how they are. I mean, you have these people that will hide their racism because of their age, or they play stupid. And that's how it is. I mean, with Joe Biden, that's how he's playing it. And I don't think he's ever changed. I just think he's got clever. He has been smart with age. You can't get away with saying nigger, as he used to say in the 60s and 70s. You can't get away with saying Haitians need to be. It would be best for the Haitians if they sunk under the sea. He said that when he was younger.
Well, you do know the history with France still being mad with them about winning, right?
Yeah, I know about that. The Haitian people got to pay reparations to France, and that's just so twisted and sick, and I don't understand why that has never been addressed. But I could see it as people call me conspiracy theorist, but we do live under a shadow government, and we do live under a Freemason society that wants to keep certain ethnic groups down. And that's how I see it.
Yeah.
You can't be telling me this is for centuries and centuries, and nobody has tried to put France in their place. Nobody's tried to put the Dominicans in their place for trying to oppress the Haitians, the massacres that have happened. You can't tell me. You gotta. It's just basically, it's a shadow government running this country, and this is why they're getting away with the things that are happening, the incompetence that's happening with the people in government. I mean, just with this Kroger shooting, you have a Texas governor. He writes a law that people can get guns without background checks, and you knew that's a bad idea. And a mass shooting happens.
Yeah,
I just think that they basically have their jobs to destroy the country. That's it.
Yeah, because Texas is having a crisis of just people coming in from the South, people coming in from California. So they, and you got some rough ones from California too. So if you give that powder keg of, we can give everybody guns, just give everybody guns. You get a gun, you get a gun, you get a gun. That's going to be a problem.
Right. No background check. You just give everybody a gun. And now, it's the Wild Wild West. And I think they're just doing this to have it to a point where now everybody got to lean on the government to have this new world order. And I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but that is the truth. How are you making all these stupid mistakes? How are you having an incompetent president who leaves American citizens in there in Afghanistan, yet you got the British getting their allies and getting their people out of there, firefights and all. And, you know, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And this is how that's how I see it's playing out. And the racism you think is bad now, when the economy crashes, it's going to be worse.
Oh yeah.
Because
I
no
was
one's
just
going to
looking.
keep people in check.
Yeah. I was just looking. They were saying food shortages, and people been sending me pictures of the shelves and stuff in the stores and how they're empty, like in Louisiana. And here, I'm in Massachusetts right now. Costco was saying they're out of toilet paper, so they're trying to like panic people. They're trying to make people panic for some reason.
But I don't think it is about making them panic, because you have people going on about their business and nobody's really thinking about, like, okay, we need to start stocking up, and nobody's noticing the grocery aisles are empty now. I mean, I've seen TikTok videos, and it's like people are asking, where's the damn food? And it's going to get to that point where people are just going to go to the grocery store and there's no food. That's what people are going to have to realize and see for themselves, because I see it, and very few people see it. But it's going to be crazy when it starts being to a point that now this is official. We actually are having a food shortage, you know, and that's going to be some scary crap.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Because I noticed my grocery bill is climbing higher and higher for fewer items. You know, a few items, $50, $60, you know. And yeah.
I mean, over here, it's like things are getting a little bit more expensive. And it's basically, you know, I just, you know, try to stock up as much as I can. But okay, well, that's all we're gonna show for tonight. And if you guys like the stream, you know, just like, share, comment, and subscribe. All right, later.
Okay, all right.
If you want to talk after the show, that'd be cool if you want.
Oh, okay. What did you want to talk about about Kevin Samuels?